Hi, Kimberly Lorenz, certified professional hypnosis instructor and certified hypnotist. Today, we're going to be talking about the common factor linking anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression are linked. They're linked by a pattern of behavior called distraction or avoidance. When you notice in your life that you have some patterns of avoidance or distraction, you need to really pay attention. They're kind of your red flags. They're telling you that something's wrong. Avoidance is not relaxation. Relaxation is when you sit back and you relax, you take some deep breaths, and the body's internal signals and the body's internal relaxation system is activated in your nervous system. Avoidance and distraction are different. Avoidance and distraction may look on the outside very similar to relaxation, but they're different. Here's why. There's not a lot of relaxation going on in avoidance and distraction. In fact, you have to stay really active, especially your mind needs to be engaged in what you're doing so that you don't feel the feelings that you don't like. And so there's not very much relaxation going on. What happens a lot of times is it becomes really tiring. Now, what are the kinds of behaviors that we can use as human beings to distract ourselves or to avoid the feelings that we don't like? Distract from the feelings we don't like, avoid the feelings we don't like. The kinds of behaviors I'm talking about are behaviors like shopping too much, drinking too much, eating too much. Did I say drinking too much? Taking pills too much, any kind of addiction, gaming too much, social media too much. These are the kinds of things that we find ourselves doing too much. It can be anything that makes us feel momentarily distracted from the things that are bothering us. We can use anything as an excuse to avoid confronting those feelings that we don't like. We could go to work and work too much. We could watch a TV show so that we don't have to think. We could cuddle our cat. See, it's not that everything that you use to distract yourself is bad. It can be unhealthy for you, but it really is a signal that you're not dealing with the feelings that you don't like. Now, what's important to remember is that when you see in your life that you have a pattern of avoidance or distraction, you have to understand the cycle of distraction. So first, what happens is you have a feeling that you don't like, and you might not even consciously be aware of it, but you're aware of it at some level and you don't like it. So instead of sitting and feeling that feeling because you don't know what to do about it, you distract with an activity, or you avoid the situation that will bring that feeling up. So you can do either one of those things. And what happens is you later on will be alone by yourself with your own thoughts. And guess what happens is that thought or that feeling or that situation will return because you didn't fix the problem. You just avoided it or distracted from it. So when it comes back, it's usually worse than before. By avoiding and trying to cut off the feelings or the emotions that we don't want to feel, because that's really what we're trying to do, is trying to push them away, is they come back worse. They actually have time to sit and ferment and get, like a tea bag in water, in hot water, or coffee grounds that are constantly being brewed. They just get darker and darker and darker. And the longer we wait, the more bitter and acrid that flavor is. It's just worse if we wait and deal with it later. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to think about this piece of paper as your ability to deal and cope with feelings that you don't like. This is your capability to encounter feelings you don't like. So when we say, hey, I don't want to feel those feelings anymore, I got to push them away or distract from them. What we're doing really is we are cutting off ourselves from those feelings. But when we do that, what happens is our ability to feel any feelings at all is reduced. But it gets worse than that, because guess what? We're going to go and we're going to live our lives. And guess what? We're still going to have negatives. We're still going to have positives too, but we're still going to have negatives. But we have less ability to cope with the negatives and we have less positive. So what happens is our joy reduces. Our ability to be happy is is reduced. So what do we say to ourselves? Well, I don't want to feel that negative feeling. That feels really uncomfortable. I need to get rid of it. So we distract. We get rid of that feeling so we don't have to feel it. But guess what happens? We have even less ability to be happy and joyful, but it gets worse than that, because every time we do it, our ability to feel good on this side is even smaller. And guess what? Bad times still come. We still have negatives. So we still have ways that we need to distract from it because we don't want to feel it, and it just keeps going. It just keeps going like this. It just keeps going and going until we have hardly any joy or happiness left at all. But it's worse than that, because all this negative is still around, and when we're not distracting or avoiding from it, all we have is this tiny little sliver of positive. But this might not even be positive, because we still might be trying to distract and get rid of those negative feelings that we don't like that are over here, and it just joins it. And we have nothing left. We have no joy left, and nothing but misery, pain, and uncomfortable feelings that we've been trying to avoid. And they just gather and get loaded onto us, and we feel worse and worse and worse. And it never ends. It's a terrible cycle. And the way to stop it is to start feeling your feelings. You have to do the opposite of cutting yourself off from getting rid and avoiding and distracting from the feelings. You have to start feeling the feelings that you have. So what you have to start doing is you have to start feeling all of your feelings. All of your feelings are good if they're based on accurate perceptions. And so now we're going to talk about some ways that you can start, if you have been compressing or cutting off part of you so it doesn't have to feel, pushing it away, ignoring it, and you've been following that cycle I described where you're just reducing your joy. You have to start practicing feeling your feelings. First, you need to change your perspective, your mindset, and realize that it's good for you to feel feelings. In fact, you were designed by nature to feel these feelings. It's not bad just because it feels uncomfortable. You have to have that willingness to sit and feel it for a while. I tell you what, here's a secret. As a hypnotist, many people, most people are afraid of the pain. They're afraid of feeling those negative feelings. But here's the truth. They're never as bad as you think. And by cutting yourself off to them, you're experiencing fear over feeling the pain. But when you start to feel it, you realize it's not as bad as you think. And by feeling it, you can actually do things to make it better so that you never have to feel that way again. So it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. I promise. Emotions are intense, but they're usually short-lived. You can do it. You can handle it. It's good for you. Realize that experiencing a little bit of difficulty and trial in your life is actually good for you. It's this mindset that we have that thinks all of pain is bad. It's not. It's a part of being human, and we've got to be willing to feel the feelings that come with life. Otherwise, we'll just hide away, feeling nothing, being alone and sad. Feel your feelings. Here's how to do it. First, name the feeling. Give it a name. Don't call it Tom, Dick, or Harry. Call it by its real name. If you're feeling angry because you were treated unfairly, call it anger. Don't call it pissed or peeved or ticked or annoyed or miffed. Allow yourself the freedom to call it anger. If you're concerned that something bad might happen, allow yourself to call that fear. Don't minimize it and call it worry or concern. Call it what it is. Call it fear. If you're lonely, call it loneliness. If you're sad because you lost something really important to you, call it sad. These are just some examples of the emotions and the words that you can use to describe your feelings. I highly recommend a fantastic book called The Secret Language of Feelings. I teach it to all my clients. You can go out and get it today and start this work all on your own. So number one, name that feeling. Give yourself permission to feel the feelings that you deserve to feel. And two, find the cause. Naming the cause means finding the thing in your life that caused you to feel that feeling, the temporal thing that happened in the timeline of time that caused it to happen, but it also means understanding the cause of the feeling. When people treat you unfairly, it means that you're probably going to feel anger. If something bad might happen, it means you could feel some fear. So understanding those causes as well is really important. But just naming it and finding the cause is going to give you so much more power and wisdom than what you've been doing so far by cutting yourself off. It's so much more powerful. You're going to step out of victimization and into your own agency. You're going to take hold of your own life. And here's how you keep taking a hold of your own life. You find a satisfying response to that emotion. Asking yourself, okay, what was the thing that happened? Was it really unfair? Where something bad really happened? If so, then those feelings are based on accurate perceptions. And that's wonderful. It's wonderful to have feelings based on accurate perceptions. You know why? Because it means that your emotional system is working correctly. It means that when someone treats you unfairly and you feel anger, you should feel angry. It means you're working right. And it's not a bad thing to feel angry. It's a good thing. It's not what you do with the anger can be bad, but anger itself is not bad. Finding a satisfying response means taking that emotion, however uncomfortable, using it to motivate you to fix the problem. By fixing the problem, you can feel the feeling, solve the problem, and hopefully never really have to feel that feeling with that situation ever again. You've actually found a satisfying response to the problem so that you can start to feel instantly better. You can begin taking power in your own life and stop being a victim to everybody else's behaviors and circumstances of life. You take the reins, you take the power, you decide. Another couple things I recommend to start feeling those feelings is one, of course, like I said, give yourself permission to have feelings at all. Two, keep a happiness journal. I've talked in other videos about Shawn Achor's happiness journal. If you want more information, I'll link it in the description so you can go find it. It's a set of activities to help change your mindset, to start focusing on the positive. It leads you to having a more optimistic, joyful life. It's a fantastic activity. You can even teach it to your kids. It can change everything. It's very powerful. And the last bit of advice, the last bit of wisdom that I'd like to pass on is that all things are temporary. What you're going through right now, however accurate or inaccurate, however miserable or uncomfortable you are with those feelings, it's temporary. You are not going to be feeling this way forever. And that means there's always hope. And that's a note for optimism and positivity. So with that, I'm going to let you go. If you have questions about this, please send me messages. Don't forget to like and subscribe and message me if you'd like to get your own personal hypnosis work. I'm always available online to pretty much anybody, anywhere. Thank you so much. Have a great day.